Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I'm coming to you with another product review. And the product that we're going to be taking a look at is the Brinyte PT16 Tactical Flashlight. Now, I have reviewed some other lights from this company in the past. I've been pretty impressed with them. They've all seemed to work, have lots of features, but this one being the Tactical Flashlight, I'm hoping it has some of the features that I like on a flashlight like this. I prefer tactical flashlights over general purpose flashlights just because they have more options. You can always use this as a general flashlight if you need, but not all general flashlights can be used as tactical flashlights. So it looks pretty attractive on the cover. So let me go ahead and adjust the camera. Let's unbox this. Let's see what's inside and what the light's like. Then we'll test it out here in the garage and I'll give you guys my final thoughts. Alright, so here's the box this thing comes in. It's a pretty attractive box. We got some QR codes on the back. It is made in China. I know some people are not going to like that, but as I have said, the Chinese have come a long way when it does come to these flashlights and the technology that goes into them, like the LEDs. The flashlights that they make today are really better than the flashlights that were made here in the US probably 10 years ago. So I'm really happy overall with their quality. I haven't had any problems with lights. I have had problems with Chinese optics, but not the lights themselves. I don't know if we have any information here on the back on how bright it's supposed to be, but let's go ahead and open this thing up. And there is the flashlight, and that boy is big. Take a look at that. That is a big flashlight. And let's go ahead and see what else comes in this box. All right, so I guess this is going to be the battery. We get a charging cable, we get a lanyard, and we get some spare O-rings. And is this going to be the owner's manual? Yes, it will be. So we'll take a look at that as well to figure out how this thing works. All right, we've got the charging port up here, on-off switch on the side. We have two buttons on the back, which I do prefer. When it comes to these flashlights, I hate it when it's a single button. You gotta tap it a number of times to get to the setting you want because it's easy to overshoot those settings. Now, I have to say is the body of this is a little bit different. We have a ledge here. I've never seen that with a tactical flashlight. That's interesting. The bezel looks good. The glass looks good. The reflector looks good. Very interesting. It's a lot bigger than what I was expecting. I got out another tactical flashlight that I have reviewed in the past. This one is from Nitecore, and so this is about the size that I was thinking it was going to be. But as you can see, the Brinyte PT16 is a lot bigger. That might be a little bit too big for a tactical flashlight, but it is definitely big and robust. Let's take a look here at this battery and see if I can install this pretty easy. I'm going to assume we can. All right, so there's the battery. Looks like it's pretty much on par for most of the flashlights that I review. Let's go ahead and put this in here. Going to assume it goes in, does it say? Nope. So we'll go ahead and try it one way and see if it works. If not, we'll reverse the battery. And there we go. And boy, is that bright. Wow. Okay, so that's in there. I have to say the construction of this seems to be pretty solid. I do like the design. I just don't know what this ledge is for. I don't know if that's going to be an issue. Holding it, it's not a big deal. Maybe that's for holding on it like that, so you have a nice grip. I guess if you're going to use it maybe as a melee weapon, that's what it would be for. All right, well, I'm going to take a moment, go over the user's manual. We're going to talk about how this thing works. We'll go over its stats, how bright it is, and then we'll get it in the dark garage and see what this beam looks like. All right, so after spending a few minutes with this light, I have figured out a couple things. Number one, this light is very bright. In turbo mode, they claim it has 2,000 lumens, and let me tell you, it is really, really bright. The other thing I have learned is that it comes with a whole process information tree on how to use this, depending on the back button being depressed or not, how many times you gotta hold the side button. It's kind of confusing. But I think I figured out the basics. I don't think many people are going to memorize that. We do have an on-off switch here in the back and a separate button to go through the different intensities, which I do like because it's so easy to find the settings. If I turn that off, we can go to the side button here. If you hold it down, it turns on, and you can go through those settings as well, just through single clicks. And then once the light is on, I believe if you double tap it, it will go to a strobe mode. And if you double tap it again, it goes to SOS. And there it is. And that's all of the different modes. You just have to memorize all of that. So overall, I'm pretty happy with all of the options that you get and how bright it seems to be here on the workbench. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the light and get this garage dark, and I'm curious what this beam is going to look like, how much spill we have, and how intense the main hotspot is. Alright, so I have the camera pointed towards that little alcove I have in the back of my garage. We're going to start on the lowest setting here. And there it is. I can tell you that the hotspot is very centered, and that's not coming across on the camera. When it comes to the spill of the light, as you can see, we have a very definitive line right there between the shadow and the light itself. This is a very directional light, so I know it's going to have a lot of throw to it. Let's go ahead and amp it up a little bit and see what happens. There we go. Pretty much the same results, just a little bit brighter. We still have a very clear delineation between the directional light and the shadow. Let's go up another setting, and now this thing is really starting to light up the garage. This thing is very bright, and we're not even on the turbo mode yet. And there is turbo mode, and that thing is super bright. I would definitely not want this light pointed at my face. So I can see the advantages of using this as a tactical flashlight to definitely disrupt somebody that might be coming at you or some type of intruder in your house. Now, just having this light on for this short period of time and having my hand towards the bezel, I can tell you this light is getting hot. So I would definitely not run this thing on turbo mode for that long. But this light is definitely very effective and might be the brightest light I have ever reviewed here on my channel. So that's pretty impressive, but this light is getting pretty darn hot. So that's what the beam looks like, what its performance is. It seems to be pretty durable, but it definitely gets hot. All right, let me adjust the camera and I'll give you guys my final thoughts. All right, so what are my final thoughts on the PT16 by Brinyte? This thing is definitely the biggest tactical flashlight I have ever reviewed, and it also might be the brightest. But because it's the brightest and most powerful, it also gets very, very hot. I'm very happy with the body of this. I think it looks very nice and tactical. I do like that bezel on it. It doesn't have sharp edges, but you could definitely still use this as some type of melee weapon if you did need it. It doesn't have any sharp spikes on it like other tactical flashlights that I have seen. I am starting to like this little ledge here, and that's for holding onto it. You definitely get a good grip, and if you're grabbing onto it nice and firm, you have a ledge on the front, ledge on the back, and you will not drop this, especially, as I said, if you're in some type of fighting scenario with it. I honestly think the only two downsides about this light that I don't like is that it might be a little bit big for the application of a tactical flashlight. I think I like things a little bit shorter and a little bit thinner, but also it gets exceptionally hot in the high mode and on the turbo mode. It's been a few minutes since I recorded that garage portion where all the lights were down, and this thing is still pretty darn warm. I also worry about the battery in those conditions. So if you use this a lot and this thing gets really hot, how is that going to affect the battery? But I think it seems to be a well-built light. I do like the options of the buttons on the back, buttons on the side. It's very easy to find the setting that you want to use, which is a big advantage over some of the other brands that I have reviewed in the past. So I really do think this is a feature-packed light, and if you're honestly looking for something with a lot of power and that's what you want, I would definitely take a look at that Brinyte PT16. But if you don't need all those lumens, you might want to go in a different direction. But this thing is definitely a big, beefy light. but it gets hot. So on my star system, how would I rate the Brinyte PT16 Tactical Flashlight? Well, I can say this thing would get 4.5 stars out of 5. This thing is a big, heavy flashlight. It is designed to be tossed around. It seems to be pretty durable. The finish on it's pretty nice. But as I said, it might be a little bit big for some applications. And so if you're looking for a tactical flashlight, especially if you don't have a light on your pistol and you like to carry a light separately, this is pretty big. And it's something that I would consider before buying it. It also is exceptionally bright, but it does get a little bit warm. So if you plan on using it for extended periods of time in the higher settings, it might get a little bit uncomfortable to hold. And once again, I don't know if it would affect the battery over time because it gets hot. But if you're wearing gloves, it might not be an issue. But 4.5 stars out of 5 for this very nice Brinyte PT16 flashlight. And in full disclosure, like always, they sent this to me for free, but I get no other kickbacks. They didn't pay me for this review. These are just my honest thoughts. The only thing I got was the flashlight to review for free, and that is it. So you guys can decide if that affected my biases at all. But there you go, my unboxing and tabletop review of the Brinyte PT16. Pretty nice light. I think it's a good value with lots of options. So let me know what you think in the comment section below if you've ever bought a flashlight from this company and has it worked out for you. I would love to know. So, as always, thanks for watching.